Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Obsidian. I'm your local shadow work cryptid, and this is Black Dragon Alchemy. I created this cozy corner cave on YouTube so that we can all dive into the unknown, dance in the void of our subconscious, and initiate the soul into alchemizing our own rebirth. I hope everyone's having a great day today. It's going nice and smoothly for everyone. I wanted to do a collective reading today that kind of piggybacked a little bit off of the last reading that we did. We had an energy of somebody who was breaking some sort of generational pattern or family cycle. This person was also coming out of a very hard and heavy time as well, almost like a tower moment of complete collapse after a time of pain. So I wanted to continue on a little bit about that and see what this whole generational curse energy was. Please forgive the harsh microphone. As you know, if you listened to my last reading, I've been having a little bit of technical difficulties with my studio setup, so I had to go to a little bit more of an analog sort of setup for the time being. So thank you for tuning in, and thank you for bearing with me as I change my whole setup here. So let's just dive in. I did already pull all of the cards. We have an overall energy of the Eight of Pentacles here. So whoever is coming out of this time of challenge, perhaps painful endings, or a complete collapse of a family dynamic, this could have not been working for you because it just didn't give you the desired output that you could match, if that makes sense. It's almost like being on two separate pages. It's almost, you know, what I'm getting is the energy that somebody who fell into a family and they just don't feel like how did I get here? But I also feel like the framework in which maybe this particular family dynamic was very traditional, very structured, very, perhaps you go to school, you go to college, you get your degree, you find someone, you get married, you have kids, you have the white picket fence sort of life, right? I'm not knocking that life. For a lot of people, that life has worked and brought them great blessings, and that's amazing for them. But for some people, for the certain group that I'm talking to, you have probably been considered the black sheep of your family. You have always walked to a different beat. You've actually created your own beat, and people, your family especially, may have looked at you and scratched their head and wonder where you fell from. And you may have thought the same. I believe this structure that you are breaking out of could be primarily revolved around finances, what you do for work, what it is that motivates you, what your ambition is. And I feel like the lesson here, that the framework in which you may have been taught seems mediocre to you. Kind of like, well, everybody's done it, and there's really nothing that stands out about it, and that doesn't really resonate with really what I want to do, what I want to dedicate my time and my energy to, you know, skills that I already have that I want to sharpen, that maybe you were told you can't make money off of, or you can't live a stable life doing this. We live in a time where you can create your own stability pretty much off of anything. And that's breaking a social structure right there as it is. Many people are breaking away from traditional family values to go be an entrepreneur, to start their own businesses, to take control of their lives and just get brave and pull the bootstraps up and do it. But for this particular person that I'm talking to, and this might be even an even smaller portion of that, I feel like you may have come from a family who they did expect you to go to school and get married and find someone. Have a courtship card right underneath my purge and release card here. So with distant horizons, this is almost like something that you've created something new for yourself. There is a new desire that you would like to follow. There's a new path that you would like to take. But you were always told, and maybe your family always assumed, that you would go get married and have kids and be a stay-at-home mom. For a lot of people, that's not really something that resonates with them. For a lot of people, it does. And if it does, that's great. But for the people that I'm talking to, it didn't resonate with you. And it wasn't something that really made you happy. It probably doesn't sound like it would make you happy. And that's okay. A lot of people aren't wanting to participate in the whole family dynamic. A lot of people want to be on their own and heal themselves and work a lot on their own mind and their consciousness. And it's hard to do that when you have a family and you have to divide your attention and you really don't have time for yourself. The group that I'm talking to, you're making it a point to make that time for yourself. And I'm hearing the family line ends with me. You could have a job right now that you're not satisfied with. You aren't interested. It doesn't motivate you. It doesn't really give you anything of ambition. You might not be bad at it, but you're not really great at it either. And you don't really feel like you want to excel in it either because you feel like there's something more. You feel like there's a greater success that's out there for you, even though you may have been told it's going to fail. You're going to fail. You're going to fall on your face. Maybe you shared this idea with your family. And if we're not talking about a family dynamic, whatever your close circle of support is. And if it's not that, then it's the societal structure of things, how we were told our lives should look like, what kind of house we should have, how many kids we should have, and having nice things and your life looking perfect. And it's not like that in the real life. Life is messy. Life is far from what most people would think of as perfect. Perfect is objective. Perfect looks different for everybody. And I feel like the group that I'm talking to right now, that's what you're grounding right now. That is the idea that you're grounding right now. But first, you had to fight a battle within in order to give yourself the space and release to make that happen. And this is taking a lot of courage and a lot of self-love and a demanding of respect. But first, you have to respect yourself, and you have to teach people how to treat you too. Because we also live in a time where people, quite honestly, I'm just going to say it, they really don't know how to act. Okay? I'm just going to put that out there. A lot of people just don't know how to act. And if that's you in this circle, you are basically teaching them how to respect you. And if they can't, then you have no choice but to walk away and to release. And if not for any other purpose other than your own growth. Because at the end of the day, this is your life. And you don't have to live it to please anybody. You could have had a lot of ideas that got knocked. It knocked your confidence. You wanted to give up. Maybe you tried some things that didn't even work and you're kind of getting discouraged about it. And now you're stuck at this dead end job because your ideas didn't take off. There is no such thing as failure. I said this in my last reading. There is only lessons learned and routes retaken. We just know that way doesn't work. But as humans, we get discouraged. And it's even heavier when your whole support system doesn't really match that energy of, it's okay, we can try again. They might say, well, you just have to fall back in line and go get a real job, right? You can't make money off of doing whatever wild idea that you may have brought to them. I'm just going to segue right here and just say this is a really prime example as to why it is always the better choice to move in silence. Never really let people know your next move. Speaking from personal experience, when you let people know your next move and you talk about things that are challenging you or holding you back or ideas that you want, people might be fake to your face and they may be proud in your face. You know, they're happy for you. They say they're proud of you and they hope everything goes well. But really, when they walk away, they want you to stay stuck. They hope it doesn't work out. They think it's a stupid idea. And that really affects the energy and the momentum that you have going for this idea. So it's best to stay private. It's best to keep your brilliant ideas to yourself. Because once people start that thought form of negativity, thought forms are real. And if you're empathetic, which I'm sure you are if you found your way here, then you know what it feels when a thought form passes through you. This is something that you have had to really drive into yourself and find your own inner strength and push yourself through. You had to really learn how to ground yourself in this, to really take your time too, to take your time to bring this into fruition. This has required a lot of patience. It's almost like you move now with intention. Like you know your next few moves before you even make them. You have grown to kind of map it out a little bit. This is Virgo energy, by the way. So that would make sense. You've learned to plan your next few steps. But you keep it quiet, you keep it to yourself, but you don't move all willy-nilly. You move with purpose and you have learned to move in silence. And if you haven't learned, then you're probably learning now, which might be what this heavy lesson was in the past. In the last reading, we had the 10 of Swords. We were learning this really, really heavy lesson. What's interesting now in this one is the 10 of Swords is in the near future, but it's paired with the High Priestess. So you are, it's almost like you're alchemizing this pain. And I know we don't have the magician here, but it's just the energy that I'm getting because it's like you're finding the sacredness in these painful endings. You're understanding why they had to happen. It's almost like you're reorganizing your subconscious and like rewiring it to not identify with the pain, not forget it, but just not identify with it anymore. It's a massive lesson learned now. It's like this nasty anchor that you have just left in the past. What you're learning now is how to be a leader, essentially. You have a vision. Now you just need to trust the process. And it is a process. As you probably would have known, maybe like I said, if you've gotten knocked down a few times, oh my goodness. I have this song that just came into my head. What's the name of that band? Is it Chumbawamba? I get knocked down, but I get up again. I'm very clairaudient and claircognizant, so I hear a lot of things and then lyrics just pop into my head a lot of the time. But yes, you may have gotten knocked down, but you should get up again. Never let them wear you out. And again, I'm going to say it again. I said it in my last reading. There is power in this pain. The gift of power is in the pain. You have to just digest it properly. And it's hard. We're human. That's kind of what our ego is for, right? I mean, without all of the influences that we get throughout our life and without it getting narcissistic and manipulative and self-sabotaging, our ego is there basically to keep us alive. Right? So naturally, we kind of want to avoid the things that hurt us, including the psychological things. So we bury them, we repress them, we hit rock bottom. But rock bottom is where that buried treasure is. You got to crack it open. You have to stay underwater long enough to crack the chest open and see all the gold. You have to get comfortable being in the depths of this pain, but also know and maybe even take a certain comfort in knowing it can't get any worse. But also with that, it's really ultimately all an illusion. The pain and the feeling is very much real, but how we choose to hang on to it and what we choose to do with it is really the chess piece right there. That's really what we want to move with. Now, these old holding patterns, especially, I mean, it's heavy on the security, heavy on what your family told you or what you were brought up on or what society says is supposed to look as secure and stable and, you know, like it's always going to last. For the group I'm talking to, this is you're here to rock the boat. Heavy, big time. But it does take a toll on you. And it's hard to sort through. And it can really make you doubt yourself a lot of the times, especially if you're part of that whole black sheep energy. You feel like there's really nowhere that you can turn to. You can turn to this channel because that's why I made it. So we can all meet here and we can all support each other here. I want to create a community here for people to come together who don't really feel like they have anywhere. And if you do have places, come, pull up a chair and be welcome. I want to create a community where everybody who is going through the pains of releasing, you're shedding your old skin and you haven't quite fit into your new one, but you don't fit into your old one anymore. And everybody's experience can look different. And a lot of people, myself included, I was one of those people. That's why I decided to start this. You don't really have a tribe or a family that you can turn to and feel like you're not getting judged. Here, I want everybody to feel welcome. You're not judged. You're not alone in this either. And this isn't something that's just happening to you. You are not a victim of this. You are probably a part of the group that came here to shake this. We're just so spread out, it feels like you're alone, but you're not. And I'll segue into the shadow energy with that, the Two of Pentacles that was followed by the Fool. You need to make a choice of finding a new path, taking a chance. Even if it's scary, it's a new path and you're falling. It's a leap of faith. You don't know where you're going to end up. It might seem a little naive on the outside, but really it's the bravest thing that you can do. The bravest thing that you can do is trailblaze a new path for yourself and not subscribe to the things that were. Because for some people, the things that were, it's just not working. There's also the Ten of Wands behind that. So again, we have two tens. This is definitely the closing of a very hard and heavy cycle. A lot of burnout, a lot of heavy responsibility. There was a lot of struggling because there was so much responsibility. It was too heavy. It was very stressful. It's almost like you didn't feel like you had a choice in it. It was just like a duty that you had to do. Something that got passed down to you. Oh, well, I guess I just have to go find a man and go get married. Or I'm just going to have to go to school and go get a degree that doesn't really set my soul on fire and then possibly end up in a bunch of debt. It's hard for a lot of people to resonate with that pattern when you can already see it falling apart. And ever since we've started the year of the horse, and I feel like especially since all of these planets went into Aries, everything, a lot of systems collectively and individually have just blown up. they've imploded, they've self-destructed. People don't want to go by them anymore. Old systems of living and feeling and stabilizing yourself aren't working anymore. There's also some sense of loss in that. But just know that that's actually very fertile ground to start something new. Scorched earth is very fertile ground. Now, I just want to maybe clarify this Ten of Wands High Priestess energy one card further. Fear of failure, and then self-doubt is on the back. But behind that, we have potion. Yes, this is you alchemizing your pain. This is you really unloading all of that past self-doubt. I mean, like you're really feeling it. You're feeling the fear and you are allowing it to be, which is really all that you can do. Honestly, as a heavy shadow worker, I've got very heavy 8th house and 12th house placements. Okay. I'm Pluto and Scorpio in the 12th house, first of all. So I am no stranger to deep transformation, the darker aspects, the occult, facing your fears, facing your shadow. I have pretty much sat down and had drinks with the skeletons in my closet. Okay. My demons are very domesticated now at this point. So all of that fear haunting you, all that self-doubt, almost like were you trying to do something that was like very public facing? I don't know why I'm getting that feeling, but it's almost like there was something that you were trying to do that was very public facing. You would have been very much like, I'm getting like limelight energy. I don't know if you wanted to do something on a stage or if you wanted to put your face out there on social media or speak in front of crowds. There's something about being in front of people that maybe got shunned and shunned so hard that you doubted yourself. Again, move in silence. Just don't tell people. If they ask, everything's fine, everything's great, and it's okay to stop there. You don't have to digress. You don't owe people a thing. You can kindly say, I'm working on some things, but I would rather not talk about it until it's got more of a momentum. And that's okay. And if they can't respect that, then, well, too bad. They're just going to have to. But this seems like something that continually fell on your head. This fear of failure was like this eternal obstacle between you and the next step. This thing that just kept haunting you so much that it's like you were afraid to even practice in front of a mirror or something like that. But this is the point of change. This is the point of transformation. This is where you take all of your resources and all of your lessons that you have learned and you make it happen. And you make it happen for yourself, for nobody else but yourself. Because I feel like ultimately that's what you got put here to do. Yeah. Temperance. Yeah. This was your purpose. It's just, you're going to have to be patient with it, and you're going to have to be patient with yourself because healing isn't linear. Going through grief and going through this 10 of Swords energy, this isn't a linear thing, even though that's pretty much what we were taught and grown up on, is that everything goes in a line. It doesn't. Technically, everything goes in a circle, but I digress. It's okay to be okay. And then a week, a month, a year down the road, you're back in the same hole, but you're never back in the hole in the same place you were before. That's why I said everything goes in a circle. Everything's a spiral. You could come back to a lesson, but you're never going to be back in that same exact place that you were before. You're always going to see it from a higher perspective. So never think that you're continually repeating a lesson and I just won't get it. And every time I try, it's just not happening. And now everybody's telling me I should try something else. I should just get a job that I'm not, my soul just isn't in. I'm not very good at, but I make okay money. No, you do what you have to do to make the money you need to survive, but never stop finding what it is you're seeking. Again, like I said in the last reading, what you seek is seeking you. You just have to get yourself on the right vibration with it. And I feel like you know what you want. It's just a matter of getting yourself out there and getting out of your own way. There's something about a blocked heart chakra here for someone too. Heavy on the heart chakra blockage. I will pull one more card on that, and we are getting a little up there, so I will call it soon. But I am curious. I want to see why the heart chakra is blocked here and see if that has anything to do with past suffering. Yeah. It's whatever happened in the past. Ooh, we have Venus behind that, which is very interesting. Heart chakra energy, okay? Venus. Don't let your past affect your present anymore. I know it's easier said than done, but like I said, healing isn't linear. Give yourself the time, the grace, and the space to do what you can. Do what makes you happy. Always check in with your heart. If your chest feels tight, if your heart's doing some irregular beating and your palms are getting sweaty, that's probably indicative that this isn't something that's resonating with you and where you ultimately want to be. It's not a very unconditional loving type of energy. That's one way to always check in with your body and see, is this a path I can take? When you don't know what to do, you check in with your body. You check in with your heart. You check in with your gut. You check in with your mind. The mind for most people is a tricky one. So that's why I say trust your body. What is your body saying? Are your hands sweating? Is your voice shaking? Are your feet sweating? Is your stomach upset? Do you have chest pains? These are all signs that something is not right for you, or an environment or people, a group, isn't of your best interest. But if you feel something that gives you the butterflies, it's like that good nervous feeling, right? Follow that. That's what you want to follow. So I hope this message reached who it needed to reach today. If it did resonate with you, please leave me a comment down below. I would really love to hear from you and see where you're at on your journey. Click the link to subscribe. I would love to start a community here. And otherwise, I will see everyone right here next time for the next reading.